The tour bus is in Wichita right now. Hey, Rob, could you turn the lights up a bit? Maybe? Yeah. So it's like I'm talking to people instead of some kind of seedy den of iniquity. But anyway, I'll tell you, if you don't know about me, I'll tell you about me in a minute. But before I get to that, I was on Channel 2 News this morning at lunchtime. Did anybody see that? It said underneath my name, music business savant. What the fuck does that mean? I think it means like you're accidentally like trapped underneath the combine harvester, and when you emerged out the other side, you could play banjo. Right? It's kind of with every hour that goes by, I'm getting more and more upset about being called a savant. A couple of things. I think this is a dead zone for the microphone. Okay. Now it's working fine. It's working. I'm doing a few things. I'm taking stuff out of my pocket because it's distracting me. One of the things I've been looking at over this last 3 weeks as I take my band Pigface out on the road is a kind of a careful, scholarly examination of what the fuck. Like, I look at one of my boys is here tonight. Harrison's there selling merch, so please buy some merch, otherwise he'll be beaten. But the juxtaposition of putting 17 people out on the road with 3 drum kits and 2 or 3 people playing bass and 5 singers, and fucking now snowstorms, and you know, I'm here, the bus is in Wichita, I fly to Denver tomorrow at 5:30, which in the morning, which may or may not be a hilarious joke. But all of this stuff is really risky and really dangerous. And I think one of the things that I write about is how to make this stuff less dangerous. Here are some ideas, here are some tricks, here are some strategies to take the edge off. And so you can have a go at this. But part of me thinks, and excuse me for being kind of philosophical, part of me thinks it's the nature of this thing that's going to be risky. And if I was to remove some risk, I'd probably react to that by doing something more risky and adding another drummer. Does that make any sense? So here I am, I just turned 60 in August, I have no fucking clue what this stuff means. I know I like paper mache bullshit on stage more than computer graphics. I apologize if there's any 3D computer graphics people here, but I like the lights we have that spell the word shit 5 feet high in Christmas lights. I like all of the crazy stuff that doesn't make any sense. And I see this human stuff when we're touring that's kind of hopeful and inspirational. Little things. We have a group of students traveling with us. These guys just arrived yesterday. Does it feel like a week already? They arrived yesterday in Austin, and we had students who've been with us for 5 straight days leave, and they described how frightened they were of the road crew, which is just hilarious to me. But they're kind of crazy big men who laugh at large boxes and get high and carry boxes and get high and move, close lids and open things and shred their hands like deadliest catch motherfuckers. Get high. But I suggested to them when we were in New Orleans that to offset their imposition on the tour, which wasn't really an imposition, they should go to Café du Monde, is it, in New Orleans? And what do you call, I want to say bayonets. Beignet. See, I just want to say bayonet. Yeah, fucking got your bayonet. And so, it's good to kind of honor these moments and create moments. So instead of just kind of on the table with all the cold cuts and the bullshit, put the beignets, fuck, Gauloise. Instead of putting them there, we invited the crew to come and stand around this table, and the students presented them with 2 bags of beignets and a thank you card. And I could see them. I just thought they were nervous and shy, but they were actually frightened of the road crew. But then...
Behind you. Wired mic behind you.
That was like an English pantomime there, Larry. Behind you, where?
Where is it?
But 5 minutes, thank you, by the way. 5 minutes after this little ceremony happened and the students were like, oh, I thought I saw a little tear on one of the crew guys. And then I just kind of stayed there. And our biggest, burliest crew guy with absolutely shredded hands came back and he put the card in front of the beignets and really, very carefully took a picture. And I took a picture of him taking a picture. It's all this little tiny stuff. Just little tiny things that make a difference, that make me think like, well, how do I apply that in life? If it's that easy with this lunatic high as a kite road crew, right? It just makes you think. And then my wife did a wonderful thing. My wife's kind of awesome, and she sent socks. She sent a bag of socks to the tour, right? So if I asked any of you touring musicians,
yeah,
are you?
I have been.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, see, it's not time sensitive. But I think if you haven't been on the road, and this is why it's great to have the students come out, is if you haven't been on the road, and I said to you, hey, do something awesome for the tour, you're like, oh, fuck, we'll pay for a day's bus, $2,000. Everybody will get a hotel, 2 big bags of drugs, not big enough, fuck off. But my wife knows, just buy everybody socks. And people are like, it's insane. It's like a Disney movie called Socks, and everybody's like, yeah. People are like, it's unbelievable. Clean socks, except Leslie Rankin, who came over from Scotland, is like, I'm not going to do a Scottish accent. What's going on with these socks? Some woman has sent us socks with my name on them. And she went off like there's a stalker, what's next? Ooh, try on this underwear now. And I'm like, and I just let her go on for a while till it got really unpleasant. I'm like, yeah, that was my wife. Sent you some socks especially for you, Leslie. Just little tiny things. I had a hairdresser come out in 2016. Gil came out, and it was just a theatrical thing, I thought, Like, hey, here's our dressing room. In this room over here, Gil will give you a blowout. Or what is that?
Oh yeah.
What? What?
Shaft with a blow dryer.
Yeah, just like get everybody like, you know, straighten their hair out, just as a little a fluffy thing before they went on stage. And that turned into like 2 hours of chaos. People were getting streaks and highlights, and there's tin foil, there's hair all over the fucking place. But once we got on stage, once again, it was like socks times 10. People are like, fuck, superstars. And you know, here I am, 60, still learning about the shit that makes better performances and more helpful with people. So, yeah. I have several different categories of stories I could tell you.
Good choice.
So, most of them include physical violence, drugs and alcohol. Well, yeah, that's it really. Those are 2 categories. And I could also, I'm also happy to talk to you about what I see going on in the business and out in touring world. So if anybody's come for some information and advice of like what's happening in the landscape, I'm happy to talk about that. Anybody you want to throw me a couple of questions about that? Time stands still. TikTok. Yeah.
I'm actually here to listen to those kinds of stories because I'm getting back into the music business and want to know what's the best way to make it. So if you have any stories of the current landscape of touring, etc., I'd love to hear them.
Okay. Did everybody hear that? What's the best way to make? What's the best way to make it? And if anybody's in the back, there's a couple of seats up here. I don't want to be that person. Everybody down the front, but there are a couple of seats if you want to sit down. You can sit next to this guy. No? Fucking don't. There's also a seat over here. And one here. Best way to make it. It's really easy. Don't try and make it. Right? Because if you do, you're fucked. If you try and make it, you become a revenue stream for somebody who's selling the idea that you're going to make it. Right? If you ever hire a company to get you, radio plays, because I know about that world. It's different now. It works with Spotify play. Well, it doesn't work with Spotify playlists or many other things, but we'll use radio as our platform for a minute. I've hired people to do radio work to get higher chart positions because that feels like success, right? We're number 4 in the chart. People understand what that is. But all I got from that company was Excel sheets. Here's 130 college radio stations who have your music. Here's 80 that were playing it. And here's 50 that still haven't opened the package yet or haven't returned the call. And I'm like, okay, I'm a fucking data analyst now, right? And after like 10 weeks, I get the thing, hey, we think it's going really good. And you should think about another 6 weeks. Which is like, hey, give us more money, chump. And I did. The first time I did. And then, I just got more and more sheets. And it occurred to me that there were some enthusiastic radio stations who started playing music immediately. And then by the time the other radio stations who were like, we can't find it. We still can't find it. And then they got another call the next week, we still can't find it. And then they sent them another copy. By the time they opened it on week 4, the radio station who started playing it on week 1 was like, yeah, it was huge a month ago. We're not playing it anymore. So it was just, you could get more bang from the buck by just making sure everybody opened it at the same time. But my point is, when you hire one of these companies, there'll be a paragraph on your agreement. So whatever you hire someone to do, get me more radio play, help me succeed, do this, do that. There's a paragraph that says, I understand, you being you, I understand that the music business is a speculative place and no results are guaranteed. Once you sign that, you just throw your money into a fucking car wash and set fire to it and put it in a shredder. Because the person at the other end doesn't have to do anything. So, be careful of stuff like that. I almost stopped teaching about music business contracts because I thought after teaching that stuff for 16 years, everybody knows all of the fuckedy up bits of a contract. And then a student bought me a contract that was worse than anything I'd ever seen. And I started to teach contracts again. I was just talking to Wendy Day, who I think did the largest hip-hop deal ever, the Cash Money deal, and I think got Eminem his deal. And she said, do you know who the worst contracts are coming from? Anybody know where the worst contracts come from?
Larry White.
American Idol.
Genre. Give me the genre of music.
Rap. Hip-hop.
New country. Is there a difference between country and new country? Yeah, sorry. I didn't need to start a huge fight. Fucking hell. It was going along okay, but he said it's a difference between, oh fuck, I am poor. Fucking got him in the toilet, smashed his head in. Gospel. It's heinous. It's fucking heinous. I mean, that just gives you an idea. So my second book is called Welcome to the Music Business Show Fucked. It's also an amazing t-shirt. Somebody's wearing one this evening, right? But my point with that shirt is, if you know that you're fucked, then you're not. If you think that you're not, then you are. That's almost like the beginning of a little Disney thing, isn't it? If you remember this rhyme and you go far. If you know that you're fucked, then you're not. If you think that you're not, then you are.
Sucks. I already know I'm fucked.
But how do you make it? I'm still on that question. First, I think I did something. So I joined PIL, I think I was 19 years old, 1978, 79, so I was 20, I just turned 20. And within a few weeks, I was in the front cover of a music magazine called Melody Maker. We did a radio show called John Peel's Radio Show, it's live. I did live television, Old Grey Whistle Test. We did an American tour, played on American Bandstand. Released an album, recorded a live album in Paris, went to Tokyo, and after 3 years, we had a hit song called This Is Not a Love Song, which was the worst fucking song I've ever played on. God almighty. This is not, it fucking is a love song. This is not a love song. House in Los Angeles with a swimming pool and palm trees, and a 1954 Ford Crestline as my first car. Larry White taught me how to drive. And some days, I'd smoke a joint when we weren't doing coke. Balls, mountains, like mashed potatoes. Except coke. I'm hungry now, sorry. I would have a slice of pizza, except you greedy bastards ate all the fucking... Anyway. Yes, yeah, the pizza's gone, sorry. I didn't mean to get us off track. So I'd have my car waxed, and the speedometer was this big. Glass, etched glass front, and a glass dome, right? And I would slide down in my seat high and look at the reflection of the palm trees in the freshly waxed hood of my 1954 Crosser through the speedometer. It was like an amazing intro shot of some kind of Hollywood gangster movie. I mean, and if that isn't success, right? This Is Not a Love Song was top 3 all over the world. And I got sick. Do you remember I got sick, Larry? I was fucking sick. And I was doing Tai Chi and I stopped drinking. I was trying, what the fuck is going on? And it dawned on me one day, I fucking hate this shit. Right? Yeah, I mean, go, laugh away. I was in hospital. You know, I mean, sure, it's just my life down the toilet. But anyway. But I'm living somebody else's idea of success. I mean, I did a really good job. I fucking Xeroxed somebody else's idea of success. Checking every single box. Met Dick Clark? Yes. I don't know that that's anybody's idea of success. But, yeah. So it caused me to reevaluate what success is. I like playing my drums with monitors behind me, right? So when I hit my bass drum, it's like, oh, like I'm being stabbed in the back. Bam, bam, fuck, yeah. So I know if my monitors are that good, the speakers around, somebody in the back of the club trying to have a drink is like, just being physically assaulted by my bass drum. I enjoy stuff like that. I know that I don't care about money. I mean, if I cared about money, I wouldn't have 17 people in Pigface. It would be me and somebody else and like a video screen. Remember this? Like, the expenses would be trimmed to the bone and it would just be a horrible experience. And we could do it once, but we'd never be able to do it again. So, So think about what success might be before you invest time and energy trying to get to what somebody else thought success was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. For some people, you know, it's just having a good time with their mates. You know, music is dangerous when you become ambitious with it because it can destroy everything. Your credit, your relationships. You know, sometimes you're in a band with some of your friends and then some bullshit happens. Who wrote what song, who did what, and now your friendship's down the toilet, your relationships, all that stuff. Oh God, I feel like this got really heavy.
No, we're here for it. Just keep going.
We're so here for it, though, yeah.
So, be open to different experiences because, you know, maybe I know lots of people who tour and end up somewhere else, right? There's nothing wrong with Tulsa. I actually fucking love Tulsa. It's been great to see it grow over the last 15 years. I did a D-Fest when Sydney was born, and Sydney's 15. Would that be right? Timeline. Was D-Fest happening 15 years ago? Yeah, I got on a plane. I nearly had to cancel. He was born, everything was all right, and I was keynoting, and I got on the plane with a hospital wristband on. I remember everybody looking at me like, this junky bastard is straight out of hospital. But I had to keep the wristband on in case I had to fly back, and they'd let me in the hospital. So touring is good for that. Just seeing, meeting lots of different people. And seeing different places, deciding you want a different life somewhere else. Hit me with something else. Music. Well, okay. Who have I worked with? So, for those of you who don't know anything about me, started playing drums when I was 9. I joined Public Image Limited in 1979 after a spell in a band called Money and a short spell in a band called The Hots. After 5 years in PIL, I joined a band called Killing Joke. Actually, I quit the music business for like a year and worked on a construction company called Picnic on the Grass. And she's not here to hear this about success, but the great thing about Picnic on the Grass was the other 2 guys were chefs, or cokeheads, as they're also known. And we were just like, didn't give a fuck. Carpenters building decks in Princeton, New Jersey. And we'd have like women's underwear day, a blue hair day, which in the mid 80s was slightly brave. And we built decks and had a pirate flag, you know, and you'd see the people we were building decks for coming home at lunchtime or coming home at the end of the day, and we'd just be barbecuing and flying kites, and we get all the work done, but we had a lot of fun. And I think some of them would look at us and go, if only I was wearing women's underwear, barbecuing and building decks. So I got a phone call from Geordie to go and join Killing Joke, who just finished their tour with Tool. Did anybody see that?
Yes.
I think it's really fantastic that Tool asked them to open. I think it's really massive of them to do that, to show that respect. I don't think a huge stadium at the moment is the right place for Killing Joke. I want to see Killing Joke with about 1,500 lunatics, you know, all, yeah. But I think it's fantastic that they did that, and it will raise awareness for the band. So I spent a few years in Killing Joke. I started to manage Killing Joke because it was a disaster. If I hadn't started managing them, they wouldn't have existed for me to play drums in them. And then I was asked by Al Jorgensen to go out with Ministry for the 1990 Cage Tour, which had Ogre from Skinny Puppy, Chris Connolly, KMFDM opened. And the day that tour ended, and it's memorialized in case you didn't feel like showing up, video, VHS. The day that tour ended, I took everybody who wanted to come into the studio to start Pigface with Steve Albini producing. So I've had Pigface for the last 27 years. And also I work with Trent. He's in Pigface, but I'm in the head like a whole video. I have a Grammy for my work on a Nine Inch Nails song called Wish. I have a band called The Damage Manual, Murder Inc. I have a label. And so, who do I like out of those people? Well, so, as I said before, I'm 60. So, when I think about recording the Paris au Printemps album with PIL in 1980, my memory, the shit stuff, kind of falls away. And you just have these pleasant memories of complete craziness. You know, and then also there's a bunch of people who aren't around anymore who I'd love to play with. So for the people who are around who I could play with again, I want to be very careful of my relationships with them, because I don't want a silly argument or me saying something smart like Johnny Rotten's a cunt to jeopardize my ability to go do that. Does that answer your question? With them, because most people who are charismatic are also funny as fuck. So moments with just crying hysterically. Yeah.
I wanted to find out what your take was on it, that immersive experience of a performance with like augmented reality or virtual reality. I mean, it seems to be a trend in terms of performances.
How do you mean?
where they're using new technologies for the presentation of the show.
So, I think that approach escalates, and I think it anesthetizes is not the right word, because Tool use a lot of technology and it pulls emotions out of you because it's fucking awesome. But I think for a lot of artists that's a crutch. And then now you're involved with these people who are doing this thing, and then it could be as simple as lights. Now the person doing lights needs to know the order of the songs, because to set up the program for each song. So now we've just lost that flexibility. You know, we've lost the ability for, if something doesn't feel good, oh, just shorten it. I'll just stop a song if it's like, yeah, Pigface allows me to do that. Or if something feels good, I'll go, let's go around again. You know, we'll break something down and like, and I'll just do a drum roll. We'll go back around for another circle around the block. So now, so everybody's emotions are in check, and somehow you're acting, and it's more of a job, I think, to deliver a pre-structured set. That's why I like to bring different people on stage all the time, because it just mixes things up, and everybody's like, oh, what's going on? Andrew Weiss jumped on stage with us in New York. So we had 3 bass players. So you know the other 2 bass players like raised their game. Everybody's conscious of frequencies. Nobody's feet were stepped on, except everybody's feet were stepped on. Like musically, nobody stepped on anybody, but it was just a fucking catastrophe on the stage itself. And so I'm just in love with our approach at the moment of, who here has seen Pigface? Okay, so we start the show with these shadow screens across the front of the stage, which I made. They're just 8 feet by 4 feet, hinged together. So it's kind of like a curtain. And somebody on Instagram said yesterday, it's ridiculous. Taking those off stage was cumbersome, and it could have been accomplished by a curtain. Fuck off. It's a curtain. Like, I'm saying one club in 8 has the means to have a curtain, right? It's like, you know, but it's great when people like when like there's 10 people on stage removing parts of the scenery. But so all we do is stand behind the screen. And then what else can you do? Well, let's play a song. Fuck. Why would you do that? Because look at me. Yeah, no, don't look at me. So I play Insemination, which is some crazy triplet beats, behind the screen, and nobody can see me. But now everybody else is just kind of like, ooh. It's this really interesting space we've created. Sometimes I ask the students, stand there. There's 1,000 people on the other side of that screen, and you can feel this tension, but it's fine because we're behind a screen. Ian and Harrison have been behind that screen. Do you remember? With dinosaur flashlights. I got you them flashlights with like dinosaurs, just waving flashlights. What the hell? But then, and I have a point. Like what else? So a couple of lights in the back can shadow a drum kit, and you move the light further back the drum kit, because you can make a drum kit huge, or somebody's face sideways, like Randy Blythe from Lamb of God is out with us right now, and people see his fucking dreadlock motherfucking catastrophe head, and like, whoa, and you can make his head this big just by moving a light around. You just got people moving lights instead of technology. And then we've got these stencils. I'm like, let's get the Pigface logo on these shadow screens. And one of our guys, one of our frightening crew guys, says, well, we need to have something called a gobo made. It's a special logo shining light. It's a slide kind of, but made out of metal, and it comes attached to a light, and that's what you do, and they're like $800. I'm like, or you could take those stencilly labeled things we've got, which say Pigface in like stainless steel, and put it on the end of a drumstick and wave it around. Which he did in order to make me look like an idiot and show me that I should shut up and pay for a gobo. And it's like, oh no, it actually looks really good. So, there's something about making things with your hands and being involved with them that then become part of some crusty presentation. And maybe it's not right for everybody, but it feels right for us, which is another part of succeeding. You know, you find the stuff, like Pigface could have 10 people in kilts playing bagpipes, and people say, oh fuck, that's Pigface, right? But some kind of K-pop, well no, K-pop would work with Pigface as well. But there are things that are right, on brand, if you like, and there are things that are not right. And you find these things and you go with them. On my list at the moment is a toilet roll cannon. Do you know what a toilet roll bazooka? I apologise, I am getting a slight erection. But it's basically a battery-powered leaf blower with a toilet roll holder screwed into the end. And we immediately like, well, yes, but instead of a toilet roll holder, if we get like a paint roller from Home Depot, I think we could put 2 toilet rolls on each blower. It's fucking fantastic. You can fill a room with toilet paper in minutes. It's brilliant. And so that feels like totally climactic, you know, messy. I like the idea of like, oh fuck, what are you trotting? Oh, it's fucking Pigface, man. Right? You know, when people can grab pieces of it, it just feels like part of the performance. So you find what it is, and so I'm on this kind of anti-technology thing, where you say this experiential thing. I think we've gotten away from sweaty bastards in a room, you know, and I don't know, because I'm not a professional, what happens when humans smell humans. Like pheromone shit. But it's part of the touch fuse that lights the touch paper, certainly. So I like that, and I want to do that more. You know, experiment with crowd density. That's the thing. Crowd density is a thing. You put people closer together, and things start to happen. And I'm just dead against the efficiency experts who take a band like Test Department, who I brought Test Department over 25 years ago, and they went straight to the scrapyard and they bought all these welding bottles and clangy shit and put this show together that was cumbersome and didn't make any sense. And currently I think they're a 3-piece with a laptop and a projector. I get it. It's only 2 great news, it's only 2 hotel rooms. Nobody leaves a concert going, you know what I loved about that concert experience? I think they're only using 2 hotel rooms. You know, and with the savings on flights, compounded by the fact that they can all be in one Uber, it's spectacular. I mean, I get it. I can run the shit out of a spreadsheet. It's got nothing to, it's the opposite of what you need to do to set somebody's head on fire. And the thing that's interesting to me at the moment is this. So I've been doing Pigface for 27 years, and it used to just be fucking nuts, and now it's really fucking nuts, and I think we're better at it. But we've just been doing our thing, and in the meantime, lots of other people have downsized and streamlined and made sense of it all in their financial world, and we haven't. You know, I've still got 4 kids. I have conversations with my wife still. Fantastic 2-for-1 sale on soup at the supermarket. That expensive tomato basil. It's 2-for-1. Because normally it's like $5.50 a go, and we're like, this is a bit expensive. But when it's 2 for 1, yeah, well, let's get some of that. It's fucking mind-boggling to juxtapose that conversation with, I just spent $16,000 on 2 tour buses. I made 2 payments today. $16,000. It never occurred to me to say to either bus company, you wanna take $50 off because there's fucking, you know how much soup that would be, right? You just have to have your head on in those worlds, compartmentalize those worlds. And what's interesting to me is people are reacting to the craziness on stage, to the collisions, all kinds of collisions, musically, physically, every which way on stage. And I think that we're suddenly way crazier than we ever were, which at the age of 60 is kind of like, well, that's fucking interesting. Because I used to be a maniac, you know. So that was a long answer, but that's where so these shit lights that we have, everybody keeps getting cut on them. I think it's great. Bastard. People walk by these lights, because it's chicken wire. We just thread Christmas tree lights on chicken wire. It looks amazing from out in the audience, but you look up close, it's like, well, these are Christmas tree lights from CVS on some chicken wire that they've painted black in an attempt to make it invisible to the theatrical crowd. But so the chicken wire inevitably gets bent. You can see that scar there. Got badly cut. Any more music business